The podcast you are about to listen to is an account of the movies which befell a group of horror fans, in particular, Tara Garwood and her intrepid friend, Matt Lolich. Had they lived very, very long lives, they could not have expected, although they would have wished, to see as much of the mad and macabre as we are to see in those movies. For them, an idyllic summer movie became a nightmare, and they loved it. The movies that they watched were to lead to the creation of one of the most terrifying podcasts in the annals of American history. The Scary Movie Project.
Hey everybody, this is the Scary Movie Project, the podcast where we talk about scary movies. I'm Tara.
And hello, I am Matt. The enchanted lives of a couple in a secluded forest are brutally shattered by a nightmarish hippie cult, I hate them, and their demon biker henchmen, propelling a man into a spiraling, surreal rampage of vengeance in the 2018 horror, action, drug-induced film Mandy. Did the three of those cover what that movie is? Is that all three of those things? I
think that hits most of the wickets.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, revenge fantasy.
Revenge is very good.
It's also a bit post-apocalyptic.
As the guy in Seinfeld once said, revenge is very good. Yes.
Yes, revenge is good. Best served. What was that?
Revenge is a dish best served cold.
Cold. There we go. Best served cold.
I don't know who said that. I just know the line.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I have no idea who said that.
Yeah, it's got a bit of end of the world vibe to it. Although I don't think so, but it feels that way, doesn't it?
It. I'll talk about what I think later.
Do you want to know
after we go through it?
I'm going to make a bizarre comment, and it just came to my head right now, and this may not make sense.
Ooh, do it.
It makes sense to anyone else on the planet but me. Did anyone feel like you were watching Masters of the Universe when you watched it? Do you remember that movie in the 80s? It was like the He-Man movie with Dolph Lundgren.
He-Man, Skeletor, yeah.
I don't know how to explain that to you, any of you listening to this, but I felt like this movie reminds me of that in some bizarre way. I don't know why. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see some elements, especially once the revenge part starts. Guys, did we mention this is a revenge movie?
No.
Revenge. Okay, so this was directed by Panos Cosmatos. I have no idea if I'm saying that right or if that's his real name or not. No clue.
Yeah, I don't know him.
But he also did a movie called Beyond the Black Rainbow, which is supposed to be pretty trippy too.
The name like that, yeah.
Yeah, and he wrote this with this guy Aaron Stewart on. So that's the director and writer. And I have nothing else to tell you about them other than that. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know anything about him.
That's who did it.
I don't think I know anything about him either. But yeah,
we don't even know how to say his name. So there we go.
I think you were correct.
You think I said it right? Okay, good.
Sounds right.
Good. That's how we're gonna say it. We're going with that.
All right.
Write us if we're wrong. Let us
Please,
know.
Yes.
So this opens with a quote that goes, "When I die, bury me deep, lay two speakers at my feet, put some headphones on my head, and rock and roll me when I'm dead."
I think a lot of people could agree with that quote for when they die, maybe. Huh? That's not bad.
And I'm not going to lie, I forgot to look up what that's from, but it is from something.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
It's from something, guys.
It's from something.
There you go. We did a lot of our work today. We did all the research we needed to do. We're prepared. We're ready to go.
I don't even care what it's a cool quote. I don't care what
it's a cool
quote.
Like it's a super cool quote.
It's just good.
And then we go to the song Starless by King Crimson. From their 1974 album Red.
How about that?
As we are doing a nice forest flyover with the credits. So we're like straight into the credits as soon as we go to that quote. And that forest flyover was gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah, very pretty movie.
Some beautiful shots there. So clearly we're in the wide woods. And then we see some machines gathering lumber.
The Shadow Mountains, by the way.
The Shadow Mountains. There we go. And that's
far part of California, very close to Las Vegas, actually.
There we go.
I believe that's where it's supposed to be.
They didn't have to travel very far from LA to record this, I guess.
Well, it's not that. Remember, that's Eastern. The Shadow Mountains are Eastern California, so it's a bit of a trek. But anyway, whatever. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's not like
No, it's
not
they had
like
go
going to
North
the other
Dakota
side
or
of the
something.
country
Right.
or going to another country. Yeah. So Nick Cage, who plays the character Red, is out there. He's a lumberjack,
A logger.
a logger.
I don't either one. Yeah.
Are they the same thing?
Yeah, that's the same thing. I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay, so he's a lumberjack / logger.
Yes.
And then we next shot is we see this woman who's smoking up and drawing, and she does some cool art.
Two
and
things that go well together.
He's heading home, and we hear I don't know if you noticed this, but Ronald Reagan is on the radio.
Yeah, and what's he talking? What's he talking about? Something about America.
I don't remember exactly what
yeah.
he's saying, but that definitely means it's got to be set in the 80s.
Well, yes, because keep going though, but yeah.
Because he's talking, and then we go to the Shadow Mountains, and it says 1983 AD. So,
I like this,
but I knew it before it went to the date.
Unless maybe he was listening to a YouTube video of Ronald Reagan. Who knows? Anyway.
Yeah, that's true. He could have been.
Yes, because that's a big popular YouTube listening deal.
Yeah.
I really like these cool title scenes. With this,
yes, the titles are neat, and there's
fonts.
like different sections of the movie, and each section gets a
really
title.
Really cool. I like that a lot.
It's very neat. I think it makes it feel more like an epic sort of adventure.
Yeah, I thought that was very neat. Well, what's a film in a three beginning, middle, end? If you want to keep it that simple, so there you go. And they actually do that, right?
Yeah. So he gets home, and the woman who we had seen earlier is his wife, Mandy. Yeah. And then they're in bed, and oh my God, the light. One of my favorite things about this movie is the lighting that they do. Like, they have these cool, like, red and blue lights playing over their faces, and they're talking about, she's been reading this book about astronomy, and they're talking about their favorite planets. And she's like, well, my favorite planet is, I think she says Saturn. She's like, what's yours? And he says the same one, but then he jokes and he says, no, my favorite planet is Galactus, which you know what Galactus is, right? It's the villain from the Marvel comics that eats planets.
Oh, is that? Okay.
It's like a big, like...
I'm sure I've heard. I just don't remember. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Marvel Comics villain,
okay,
and it eats planets.
That's a good little.
So she's obviously like very smart and knows all this stuff about astronomy, and he's like making Marvel Comics jokes. So it's cute. It's a very cute little moment.
They clearly could get along very. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cute. But so then they go to this shot of the night sky with these crazy reddish clouds, which is like,
right? That's awesome.
Oh, amazing.
I would like to live there. Yes, I know.
And then, so this is like, this section of the movie is kind of, I feel like, honestly, this might be my favorite section of the movie, right? Because it's very dreamy.
Yeah, it's very strange.
And kind of romantic, but like, but very weird and not normal. And so next is Red's out in a boat fishing, and then he's like at his campfire, and Mandy just comes out, and she might be naked. I couldn't tell.
I don't remember.
Like, it showed her shoulders, and I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
So then the next morning, like, she's walking through the forest, and she finds a dead baby deer and cries. And, like, it's just all these, like, moments from their life.
Right.
So then they're on the couch that are watching TV. Like, Red says maybe they should move away, but she says she likes it there.
Right.
And then she tells him this story.
Oh, yeah.
About her dad, and how when she was young, there was like, they found a baby starling, and her dad came out and took a baseball bat, I think, and showed all of her friends how to kill them.
Take a whack at it, basically. It was like a pinata almost for
he had every kid take a whack at this baby
and she
starling.
was like, no, I ran away or something, right, or whatever.
And she ran away. Right. All the kids did it, and when it came her turn, she just ran away.
Right, and it's like
which is just so
trippy. It's this trippy like scene with this just weird ass music going on, and everything's just like. Mm-hmm. This quiet, warm feeling you have. Like, you could just like fall asleep watching that scene.
Yeah, but but that story is like, I feel like it just says a lot about her. She's gentle, perfect. And and she's kind, and
It's-
and then you know when she finds the dead baby deer and she's crying, like she's just a very like sensitive, kind person.
Does it remind you of the Silence of the Lambs scene where Jodie Foster's character is talking about the lamb that she finds? Remember?
Oh,
Right.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So then, okay, then the next, and I have to mention this, it has nothing to do with anything, but Mandy is reading a book,
Yeah.
and her bookmark is a dollar bill,
Yeah.
which is something that, like, I swear to God, like, only true readers do.
I've
Like,
definitely seen people do that.
you will, if you're really a reader, like, anything is a bookmark.
Yeah.
Anything that
definitely seen
you need, that you have to hand when you're in the middle of your book and have to stop and are like, oh shit, I don't have a bookmark.
Either that or
anything could be a
You
bookmark.
got a dog here or clip down or fold down the page, right?
No, oh no.
Oh, people do that all the time.
No, you're a dog earer?
I don't, but people do.
Oh,
No, I don't.
Matt.
I don't. No.
Okay, good. I'm glad you don't.
Nope. No, I mean,
I'm glad you
it
don't.
ruins the book, obviously, but I mean, that's like a quick, I mean, people do it all the time. And go read a book from the library and look how many dog-eared pages are in the book, right?
But I think people who are, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe our 5 listeners will get mad at me,
No.
but I think people who like really truly love books, like you don't want to dog ear that page. Like it
I don't.
it's painful.
I use my business. I use my business card as my bookmark.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That way, if it falls out, at least somebody might see your work.
That's right. It's all on purpose, of course. Yes.
So the book she's reading is called Seeker of the Serpent's Kiss,
I love, and they
which
zoom
is
in on
not
that.
a real book.
They zoom in. It's like the Fabio books or something. You almost think about, right? Like it's,
Yeah, it's like it's definitely like some like crazy fantasy book, like
right.
but this is not a real book that exists. So don't go looking for it like I did with
I
the
didn't even
the
bother.
script
I
that
assumed it was phony.
I did this when I was a kid with the total sidebar, but with the movie Labyrinth, she's reading the play
God,
script
I
out
love
loud.
Labyrinth.
Yeah, but she's reading the play
Yes.
to herself out on
Yes.
the like out in the park, and I must have spent like 2 years trying to find that play in my library when I was a
Is
kid.
that right?
I was always looking for it and trying to figure out like what it was called and like what it
my
might be, because I thought it would be called Labyrinth, and then I was like always looking for it.
By the way, I'm more than happy to talk Labyrinth on this program anytime. That movie's amazing. I haven't seen it in so long.
I love
my
that movie.
goodness.
I love
who doesn't
that
love that movie? It was
I mean,
amazing.
it's got a little bit of horror element to it. Goblins. We could maybe make it swing in there.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's just a great movie. It's worth
just a
discussing
fantastic
anyway.
movie. If you haven't seen it, guys, see it. It's so
please
good.
see Labyrinth.
It's
Yes.
such a good movie. Anyways, so Seeker of the Serpent's Kiss, not a real book. Don't go looking for it. You will not find it. And then so she's walking in the woods, and this group drives past.
Yeah.
And they're in. It's like a group in like a old van.
Yeah.
Or they're in a camper.
No, I think they're in a van.
No, it's a van.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
think
van.
in
Yeah, they're in like a big van. And I noticed when they drive past and it cuts back to her, there's this like it goes into slow-mo and then
And it
freeze
cuts
frame.
to her a couple times, once, twice, 3 times. Yeah, that was a weird edit they did.
But it
was
goes into
neat.
this slow-mo and then it freeze frames on her like they do in 80s horror films.
Mhm, sure.
It made me think of the first girl who gets killed in the flashback in Friday the 13th.
Okay.
Remember they kill the boy
Sure,
in the
of course.
loft and then they go to kill her and it's slow it does slow-mo and then freeze frame. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
did that like same thing here, but she wasn't getting killed. She was just
No.
being seen by
Right.
these
They
people.
were noticed. Yeah, right. Exactly.
And I noticed too the boy who's in the passenger seat, he's like, I don't know, he's like a teenager or a young adult. Like he's younger than the rest of them. He kind of reminds me of what's his name from Children of the Corn. Who does
Isaac?
Outlander? We
Oh,
have your woman.
Matt, your favorite movie, Children of the
My
Corn?
favorite movie, Children of the Corn.
Yeah,
But this
Malachi.
Malachi, this guy reminds me of Malachi kind of. It was weird.
Okay.
He doesn't have the red hair, but there
Right.
was something in his face that I was like, he looks like
Interesting.
Malachi.
Okay.
So the next title of the next section of the movie is Children of the New Dawn.
Yes.
And basically it starts, there's this guy Jeremiah, and he's the leader of the Children of the New Dawn.
Isn't that a perfect name for that, right?
Right, of course. Jeremiah is the leader of cults.
Right.
Like that's the kid's name in Children of the Corn again, isn't it?
No, it's no, not Jeremiah. It's I'm blanking right now. I'll think of it in a second.
No, what is it? Anyways, but it is a good cult leader name.
Oh, it's a great name. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a great cult leader name.
Yes.
So there's this old woman, he's being a dick to her, and then he calls in Brother Swan. He tells him that he wants the girl that they saw.
Right. You must. And he's like, Jeremiah, of course. Yes, no problem.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Right.
Totally. And then he asks him, do you have the horn of Braxis?
Who doesn't?
I mean, it's
I have
you
one in
gotta
my
have
living room.
a horn of Braxis, right?
Yeah, it's in my living room.
So Brother Swan holds it up to Jeremiah to show him there's this like green flashing light on it.
Crazy.
And then they decide between them that they're gonna offer up the fat guy who's one of their
that was like, let's just give this
too.
fat kid over here. That'll be great.
Yeah, they're like, let's just give him to them too. And we're
that
like,
was so
oh,
bizarre.
They're giving people to somebody. Okay, here we go.
I guess so.
So then a young girl in the cult is sent in. I think her name is Sister Lucy. I think they said.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds right.
She's sent in and she closed the door behind her. And you could sort of tell there was going to be some hanky-panky going on there.
That's right.
And then we cut to the store where Mandy is working.
Yep.
I couldn't tell if it was like a thrift shop or like just
general store,
a convenience store, like a general store or something.
It's
it was something like that.
Like scaled down general store from what I could.
Okay,
that's
like. So she's working in the general store, and the old woman from the cult comes in.
Yep.
And she's talking to her, and she's like, "Oh, you live around here." And Mandy tells her they live
nice to live here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And where does she say they live by?
Down near Crystal Lake.
Yep, I love that. That's so great.
So good.
I'm so glad they put that. Could have been, for all we know, that was a total accident, and to this day, the director still doesn't realize that. Or he was just like, I have to put this in there. I don't know.
It totally could have been.
I don't know, but it was
a
great.
nod. Who knows?
Yep, thought that was awesome.
So the woman buys her stuff. She acts all creepy. She's been acting all creepy, and then she just leaves.
She's weird.
And
she's
then
like trying to get her out of the store. She's like, that'll be $5. Like, leave now.
Yeah,
Get
she's
out.
like, okay, see ya. So the cult is in their van, and they're on the road, and they're waiting for Mandy to come past. And they're like, are you sure this is the way where she's coming or whatever? So they're waiting for her to come past. And Brother Swan gets out of the van, and he blows the horn of Braxis.
Yes.
And this ATV gang shows up. They're not on motorcycles, they're on ATVs.
Right.
And their outfits are so scary and
they're pretty scary. Guys.
Freaking dope, man.
Yeah,
they're
fairly frightening. If I saw them, I would probably be scared.
Yeah, they are. This seems to be who they called with the horn, is this ATV gang. And they are like definitely not normal humans.
No, if at all.
Yeah, they're humanoid, but they're definitely not like regular humans.
No.
There's something wrong,
something not quite
off
right
there.
Boys,
something not quite right.
Them boys ain't right.
Them boys ain't right. And they say, one of them says, blood for blood.
Right. There's a lot. We'll get to it later. There's a lot of this weird effects on people's voices in this movie, which I thought was
yes. They have weird like gravelly,
like digital video game almost effect.
Yeah, just very strange voices.
Yeah.
So then we cut back to Red and Mandy. They're watching an old sci-fi movie, and they go to sleep. I forgot to check what sci-fi movie it was. Oh, well.
I forget.
So they go to sleep, and the gang is in the woods outside their cabin, and there's these blue flashing lights, and then suddenly the gang is inside. Like no traveling from one place to the next. They're just there.
Hop in and out.
And they take the fat guy away.
They sure do.
They take him right away, and they
sure
put a
do.
sack over Mandy's head. And then, like, next thing you know, she's sitting at the kitchen table with the women in the cult. And they put a drop in her eye, and oh my God, they pull out that huge huge
Okay.
giant wasp.
That was a bizarre. Then once she puts the eyedropper in, then she takes like a suck on the eyedropper. Remember the woman that does it to her? That
I didn't even
weird.
notice that she sucked on the eyedropper. That's weird.
So she goes in and she's pulling something off the stove that's boiling, I guess.
Yeah.
And she drops it in her eye, and then she takes the eyedropper and like licks on it like a spoon, like it would have like cake mix on it.
So I think that's a drug, and then the wasp must be too, because they take the wasp and they sting her in the neck with it.
That was so gross. That wasp.
It was so disgusting.
Yeah, that was gnarly.
And everything goes blurry, like all the like shots after that go blurry.
Yeah, she's
and
all
they take her to
up.
everyone else, and Jeremiah is talking her, and he says, and this is one that probably not a lot of people are going to get, but he says, "Look at me, tell me, what do you see?" And that is a line from an R. Scott Baker series, from a fantasy series by R. Scott Baker.
There you go.
So
good.
If you're an R. Scott Baker reader, there's a little a line in here for you.
I'm sure that was deliberate.
I'm guessing because he's done a lot of like sci-fi fantasy sort of nods here.
Sure.
So then Jeremiah turns on the music, which we find out later is his music, but he turns on this like goofy music and he's like dancing.
Carpenters or something.
And he's talking to her, and this is another part that I love. When he's talking to her right in her face, and they have a close-up of him, and it does this really slow fade from him to her.
Oh, when the face is morphed?
Back to him.
Oh my God, that was disturbing.
And then back to her, and then back to him. It's really eerie.
That was disturbing and so cool, though. Yes.
Yeah, it was
weird.
super cool.
Oh,
so,
man, that was
like,
this is
that shot alone is worth the price of admission, you guys. It's so wild.
If whatever you all listeners are fans of LSD and anything psychedelic, please watch this. You won't need to take anything. You can just watch the movie.
Yeah, no, just watch that scene.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was wild.
You'll be tripping.
For sure.
So he wants to sleep with her. And he undoes his robe and he's naked underneath.
Sure
she asks him if the song is about him. Like, did you make this song about yourself? And he's like, yeah, I did. And she just cracks up at him.
And she's like so messed up from whatever she took, but she still just starts laughing at this guy. I love it.
Yeah, she just laughs like crazy at him.
And then he basically acts like a 6-year-old after that.
Oh yeah, he gets so angry.
Unbelievable.
And so then we cut to Red, and Red wakes up chained to a tree outside their cabin, and Jeremiah comes out with Brother Swan and Sister Lucy. We're just going to call her Lucy, whether that's actually her name or not. I think it is.
Yeah.
And he makes Lucy play Russian roulette to show Red how much she loves
the
him.
barrel and puts oh man, that was wild.
Yeah, and then they show him they have the tainted blade of the pale night, straight from the abyssal lair. And that is a Dungeons and Dragons reference for my fellow geeks out there.
There you go. Yeah, this was stuff I sure didn't know if it was made up by the production crew or if it was real. I had no idea. No idea.
That's a Dungeons and Dragons reference. Pale Night is the mother of demons and an abyssal lord.
Okay, cool.
So
that's good.
It's the tainted blade of the Pale Night, straight from the abyssal lair. So it's D&D stuff.
Okay.
Oh, and the knife, I don't know if you noticed this. It has an eye on the hilt.
I did not.
Oh, it's so cool. Like, it has an eye like right at the center of the hilt.
Maybe I did. Okay.
It's really cool. So Jeremiah stabs Red, and they bring Mandy out. Yeah, like in his side. And they
terrible.
Bring out. They set up like this. I don't know what you would call it. They set up like so. It's like a stick on top of 2 legs.
So it's not like it's not like a gallows per se.
No, but sort of. Yeah, sort of like a gallows.
For lack of a better description.
They bring Mandy out like in a sleeping bag. Yeah. And they hang her up from it, and they just set her on fire.
What does the guy say? The darker the whore, the more she burns.
The brighter she burns, or something like that. Yeah,
that was weird.
Oh, and it's so. Part of what was so freaky to me about that scene was that rather than going for the like we're gonna do all the special effects of like her skin burning and stuff. They have her in the sleeping bag, but the sleeping bag is like jerking around.
Yes.
And like bending and like
It's terrifying.
It's really terrible.
Oh, man, I can't. Yeah, that's wow.
It's really bad. So they set her on fire.
Sleeping bag deaths in this movie. And then I told you guys before about Jason.
Oh yeah,
killing the person in the sleeping bag in one of the Friday the 13th. So watch out for sleeping bags.
I did see that. I haven't seen that Friday the 13th yet, but I have seen the sleeping bag death.
So sleeping bags, you may die.
So after they set her on fire, they just leave. They just dip.
Yeah, they're done.
And
it's very cute. They're casual. They're just like, yeah, we're out of here. We're gone.
Yeah, and then finally Red gets free, and he like cradles Mandy's charred head in his hand and like cries.
Yeah, her skull is just, oh my God, that was
crazy. And
yeah,
it's like her charred skull, and it crumbles and blows away.
Yeah, right. It's like perfectly done. Like, yeah, it sums it up, right?
And so I love this part though. He goes back inside, and the TV is on, and there's this ridiculous Cheddar Goblin mac and cheese commercial on.
Love that. I wish that was a real commercial. Well, maybe it was a real commercial. I don't know.
Well, so my husband watched this with me, and he found the full commercial.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it is not a real commercial. It was directed for the movie by this guy. Well, I don't think it's a real commercial, but it was directed by this guy, Casper Kelly, who worked on a bunch of cartoon TV shows. Like he did an Adult Swim show, and he did, what's that one? Squidbilly?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's done some cartoon TV shows, written and directed and produced.
The commercial? That's cool.
And he did the commercial. So I think it was made for the movie, though.
Okay.
It is a hilarious commercial. I will find the link and put it in the show notes, you guys. It's so funny.
He's watching, and he almost seems like he's interested in the ad, even though all this awful things have just happened in his life.
Yeah. And so he goes to sleep, and he dreams of Mandy dying as a cartoon.
Right.
And then he starts drinking.
Like,
and he had refused to drink earlier in the movie from one of his lumberjack / logger friends.
Oh, okay.
So I think maybe he was actually sober until this happened.
Okay.
And so he like goes. I think he's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And he's like
he has a meltdown.
Got a bottle of vodka or whatever, and he's like screaming and crying and drinking. It is like top-notch Nick Cage. It is what Nick Cage does, you guys.
I mean, what's my favorite movie from him in that same level? Remember Leaving Las Vegas. That movie's unbelievable.
That movie's fantastic.
I hope you guys have seen that, because he plays an alcoholic who's drinking himself to death in that movie. So, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty accurate description of,
he screams and he cries and he drinks for a while.
Right.
And the next day he goes to see a dude in a trailer home to get his crossbow. And my first thought is, he has a crossbow?
I mean,
why does he have a crossbow that he left with this guy?
Safekeeping.
What's going? Yeah, but
right. Why?
Like, what is his background that we know nothing about? That he just casually owns a crossbow and leaves it with some dude. Oh, and the guy has the cutest bulldog.
Mm-hmm.
He's so cute.
Right.
And Red tells him about the attacks. This guy, whose name I don't remember getting, but he tells the guy about the attacks.
I don't remember if he even said his name.
And the guy says they're black skulls.
Yeah.
He says they're the black skulls. There have been stories about them recently. He says apparently they were couriers for an LSD manufacturer who made a special batch for them because he didn't like them, and they've never been right since.
Yeah, because they went on a bad trip and they've been jacked up. They're all jacked up now, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So then we cut to probably the coolest sequence in the whole movie. Red forging his totally sick axe.
So please, can I like go like on an online course and like learn how to do this so I can make my own axe like that, please? How does one go about learning this skill?
I say just somebody else make me one.
No, I would like to do this. So what's that TV show? Forged in Fire, right? Isn't that where they make these things?
I think.
Isn't that right?
I do know a guy who makes stage combat weaponry. He's a blacksmith up in Baltimore.
I want one.
Maybe I can hook you up. You can learn from him. I have a rapier.
Dude, that thing.
I have a rapier that he forged because when I was in theater, I used to do a lot of stage combat.
That axe, that thing he makes is pretty sweet. That thing is amazing.
Yeah, it's dope. And
Oh,
apparently it is an homage to the logo of this Swiss metal band Celtic Frost.
Sounds like a death metal band. Would I be
Yeah,
accurate
I don't
about
know.
that? Oh,
I'm not sure.
I'm sorry.
I'm not
What country did you say it's from?
Swiss.
Oh, it's any metal band from Europe or Scandinavia.
Then they're
is
just
death
death metal.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
they're
sorry
just
if
straight
that's
up death metal.
Just broad stroke there, but I'm fairly certain it's pretty much a death metal band.
Okay, I mean I believe it.
That
believe
thing
you.
he makes is amazing.
So yeah,
You know what? He's a very skilled guy. He's a logger, and clearly he's like some sort of blacksmith, obviously.
and a crossbowman.
Yes, and a raging alcoholic.
He's really good at drinking.
Uh.
So Red rides out. Oh no, sorry. Right after he forges the axe, we see the next segment of the film's title. And it just says Mandy in the most like gothic-y font, and it's like growing out.
Like,
yeah.
Really neat.
Yeah, the roots grow out.
Very cool.
And that is the first time in the whole movie that we see the film title.
You know what? I had this quick.
It's not in the opening credits.
I had this hilarious moment to myself where I was watching it. I was thinking if I was the biggest jerk on earth, I would just end the movie right there. That would be
Just like,
the title.
boom,
We're done.
Mandy.
We're done.
We're done.
The audience, what the hell just happened? Right.
Well, okay, so that was probably about an hour and a half into the movie, which is how long the movie should have been.
You know what? You make a good point on both of those. I would say
This movie is so long.
it's not so long, but it's definitely long. Yes.
It's like it's a good 2.5 hours.
I think it's exactly 2 hours.
No, I think
it is.
longer, isn't
no,
it?
it's like 2:01.
Oh, it's so long.
Yeah,
It
it's
just
long.
feels long.
It's long.
Anyway, so we see the film title finally, and Red rides out, and he hides on the side of the road, like he's in his car, and he parks his car and he hides on the side of the road, and the Black Skulls come, and he shoots one of them, and then he drives straight for the one that fell, but when he hits him, his car flips over.
Yeah, right. That's pretty intense.
And so then he's like knocked out, and he sees Mandy in cartoon form again while he's out. And he wakes up chained to a radiator.
Yeah.
And the Black Skull comes in and slices his chest, and he says,
Yes.
"That was my favorite shirt, man."
Yep. Love that.
And then while the Black Skull, while it's intimidating him, like standing over him being like scary,
Black Scully.
he gets a loose pipe free and he whacks it until it falls into the there's like this pit in front of him for whatever reason. So it falls into the pit and he gets himself loose, and there's another Black Skull watching porn in the living room.
Yes.
And he attacks it and they fight. And dude, it pukes blood in his face as it dies.
Like just like buckets of it.
Like just
Buckets of it. It's so gross. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Just pukes blood all over his face. Then the first Black Skull comes back and it shoots at him, but it misses, and he breaks its neck. And then he finds his axe and crossbow.
And doesn't it yell at him again about ripping his shirt?
Yes, he does. Yeah, he yells at him again about ripping. Yeah, about his
ripping
favorite shirt. Yeah. Which I saw someone online noticed, and I did not notice it, but someone else did. I don't remember who it was that I saw it from, but that shirt later on, we see like some flashbacks, and it may have been the shirt that he was wearing when he first met Mandy.
Wasn't she wearing that same shirt in one of the scenes? The 44, number 44 t-shirt? Like
I think she might have been wearing it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's his favorite shirt, and I think it might be the shirt he met her in.
Okay.
And he would like let her wear it anyways.
Sure.
Anywho. So he breaks the Black Skull's neck. He finds his axe and crossbow in the room. And then he finds this jar of something.
Oh, man. Why?
And he decides he's going to take a taste.
I mean, you know what? I don't really have words for that. I don't know what to say about that, except that...
Who does that?
He does.
Who just finds a jar of weird shit and is like, let me taste it?
I'll tell you what. That's if you're into that, that's That's pretty gnarly. That's pretty awesome because that stuff gets you jacked up in about
Oh,
a millisecond.
he loses his ever-living mind.
Liquid, LSD, I guess, right?
It's liquid LSD. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's he, and I think, well, we'll see this later, but I think that it is the LSD that was given to the Black Skulls that made them what they are.
Right, could be.
So, yeah, I think it is.
That's wild.
Now, the third Black Skull is outside, and he shoots it with his crossbow, and it pulls the bolt out of its neck.
Yeah.
And so he grabs his axe and he starts fighting it with his axe. And they have this huge long fight in where he like finally kicks it into the fire and cuts its head off.
Yep, that was awesome.
And then he finds a cigarette in the ground, lights it in the fire.
Right.
And smokes it.
I mean, throughout this movie, it's it's certainly not funny subject matter, but there are some funny moments. Like that part's funny, or when he's talking about "you ripped my shirt." There's a couple just funny,
that's my favorite
in the
shirt.
movie. Right.
And so now he has one of the Black Skull's ATVs. So he goes and he finds the LSD maker,
The cook,
who they call him the chemist.
Isn't that what they call a guy who makes like meth, like a cook? They call him, right?
I guess so. They call him in the movie. They call him the chemist.
Oh, okay, all right. No, that's fine. And that is Richard Brake, who is in a couple of Rob Zombie's movies.
Oh, wonderful.
He's in Halloween 2, and he's in the movie 31.
Which, aren't we watching a Rob Zombie movie pretty soon?
Oh, yes, we are.
I
don't believe he is in that film, though, but he is in 2 others by him. He's a good actor.
He will be missed. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
So he's making the little like LSD stamps with his hands just in the liquid.
And he has a tiger.
And the tiger is named Lizzie.
Yes.
And apparently it was originally supposed to be a lizard.
Okay. Interesting. Makes sense.
Which I guess is why its name is Lizzie.
I was going to ask if it's named after Lizzie Borden, but okay, either way.
No, I think it's because it was originally supposed to be a lizard.
That's pretty funny.
So he says something about how like the tiger Lizzie,
when she's calm, it's all good.
When she's calm, it's all good. Yeah, when Lizzie's calm, it's all good.
I know it's good or something like that.
Yeah, and so he lets the tiger out and it just walks out. It just leaves.
We don't see the tiger.
So there we go. There's the tiger cameo. And I thought this scene was weird because the chemist just talks at Red.
Yeah. Oh man, they did you wrong, man. It's like
and Red never answers or says anything, but he acts like he did.
Because he ate the liquid LSD and his brain is on fire right now.
But he knows everything that Red would have said. Like it's cool.
I know it is. It's wild.
And he says to Red, and I love this part. He says, "You exude a cosmic darkness."
Yes. That's another funny moment in the movie, right?
Yeah. And then he tells Red north. So Red drives north.
That's right.
But his ATV gets stuck in the mud, so he starts walking. And he dreams of cartoon Mandy again. Mm-hmm. And this time she pulls like a big emerald out of a dead monster's belly. Yeah. And this, I'm told, is a nod to the glowing green orb that is featured in 1981's Heavy Metal.
You know, I have never seen that movie. I feel terrible because it's a classic, I think.
I have not either, but my husband has. And
it's
supposed
to be very good.
So it's apparently from that.
Okay. Cool.
So another nod there.
Good. I like that. Yep.
And he finds the cult's very hidden away church house. It's in like the end of like a ravine.
Did it remind you of the building at the end of Midsummer a little bit? With the A-frame?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, the shape of it, yeah.
The A-frame style, yeah.
So they're driving away from the churchy house, and they go right over some caltrops that he's dropped in the road, and Brother Swan gets out of the van, and Red just kills him, like quickly dispatches him.
And it's pretty awesome because he takes the end of the axe he made, and he sticks it in his mouth and drives it through his mouth to the back of his head, which is pretty awesome.
Yes, because it's got like a pike blade, like you would have on an old like soldiers would have on a pike.
It's like a dagger on one end and an axe on the other.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Exactly.
And
he drives it through the back of his head.
And then he lets the other Lucy woman, he lets her live. He doesn't mess with her.
He does, because I think he can tell that she's just
Brainwashed.
a victim, really.
Yeah.
And then he heads towards the churchy house to get the rest of them.
Yep.
And he gets the teenage boy with a flying axe while he's washing a car.
Yeah, that was great.
The teenage boy is washing the car, not Red.
Yes.
Then he grabs a chainsaw and finds one of the other cult members. This is probably the longest fight in the whole thing.
Yep.
Because the other guy has a chainsaw that's like even longer
When
than
he
his.
pulls that, I started laughing, and all I could think about was
huge.
All I could think about was, well, one, like the whole phallic symbol meaning of it all, really, I suppose, which I thought was
I see
funny.
your Schwartz is as big as
Right.
mine.
But I was thinking, why did one of the Chainsaw Massacre sequels ever have him with a giant saw like that? This thing is like a 7-foot chainsaw. I love it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's so big. So they chainsaw fight. Red wins.
Sure does.
And
and
chainsaw fight.
How about the way he kills him?
Oh, wait, how does he kill him? I'm trying to remember now.
So first of all, trying to fight with a chainsaw that big would be very
yes.
hard.
Yes, I remember, and I'll let you tell it.
Swinging the chain around that he finds a chain, wraps it around his neck, and drags him. There's a running chainsaw laying down, and he drags him into it and drops him on top of the running chainsaw.
Yes.
And the shot is from above, and it just shows him his back, and then below, just blood just starts exploding from him laying on top of the chainsaw.
And he's like shuddering, and that's so
ripping
gross.
him apart. Yeah, great.
That's so gross.
Love it.
And so they filmed that all in one night.
Okay.
And the director said it was, quote, straight up living hell to shoot.
I bet it was hard.
Then Red goes into the church house. He finds the old woman, and she's crying, and she gives him this speech about, like, basically she wants him to let her live, but she tells him she's an amazing lover.
Yeah.
Something about, like, I'll be on you like the waves on the shore.
Right.
And, like, it's a really pretty good speech, but
It ain't going to save her life, that's for sure.
And they fade out, and they cut to Jeremiah, and the old woman's head just lands at his
He
feet.
just rolls her head in there, yep.
Just whoop. Red comes in, and Jeremiah monologues. He just goes off about how
He's crazy.
he's amazing and blah,
Right.
blah, blah. And Red tells him, the psychotic drowns where the mystic swims. You're drowning, I'm swimming.
Yeah, how about that?
Which is a variation of a quote from Joseph Campbell, who was a mythologist.
Yeah, sure. Doesn't he also say to him at one point, like, you need to kneel before me because I'm God or something? No one.
Well, we'll get there in a second. So, but this is where I wanted to mention, this is why I think he had the tainted LSD that was given to the Black Skulls, because his voice sounds like theirs now.
Yeah, I didn't. Okay, you're right. Yep, he had that crazy, like, computerized, digitized voice.
Yeah, he has the digitized, like,
Right.
crazy, growly voice now.
Right.
So Jeremiah, he cries, he rants about how powerful he is, he raves, he does everything. He begs, he says, I'll suck your dick, like everything.
He certainly does.
And then I guess he's
hilarious.
raving about God, and Red says, I'm your God now. I don't know if I did that voice right. You probably need some SFX in there, but
close enough.
But he grabs Jeremiah's head.
Yeah,
and he just squeezes it.
God, just crushes his head, and his eyes start popping out. It's great.
Yeah, just
Yep.
he just squeezes it.
Yep.
And then he lights him on fire.
Sure does.
And then he goes out and he sits in the car and he has his memories of Mandy, which is where that someone said that you see him wearing that shirt, that favorite shirt, when they think is the first time he meets her. And then he drives off, and as he's driving off, we get this like really wide shot, and the world looks like Mandy's art.
Yeah. It's like a fire.
Yeah, it looks like her art now, which is why I thought that which is why I kept saying post-apocalyptic, because I feel like the world looks more normal in the beginning when they're together. And then after she dies, the world around him starts looking more and more, for lack of a better word, fucked up. Like more and more like
chaotic.
Chaotic and post-apocalyptic. And then at the end, when he's like avenged her, it looks like her sort of post-apocalyptic sci-fi art that she does.
Yeah. Well, that's well done. I think that's good. I mean, that should all those that art scenes should represent what he's feeling or what he's going through. Sure.
Yeah, I think that was a good piece. And then, so another thing, we were talking about the lighting being so great. Like
crazy.
The lighting is one of the best things in this whole movie. The lighting and the cool shots. And this is the director's trademark. You know how the film looks sort of soft?
Yeah.
Like it looks a little bit soft focus, and it all like the frame kind of looks
it's supposed to look like an old
milky
80s
almost
kind of film, right? Sure.
Well, it's called panaflares. It's
Made by
the
Panavision.
process involves aiming small LED lights right into the barrel of the lens to make everything look softer
Okay.
in the lens.
That's interesting.
So I thought that was interesting.
Sure. Very.
Yeah, I thought apparently that's Cosmatos' trademark as a director.
Shot on film or a digital? I don't know.
I'm not sure,
Okay.
to be honest.
Interesting.
But I think it could be shot on digital and still look like that because of the lens,
of course.
picking up the flare of the light. So, yeah. And then, so Cosmatos also described it. He said it was a film about the death of his parents.
Oh, okay.
And Nick Cage, when they were filming, he had just had a long-time marriage end. So he said he used those emotions in the film.
Okay.
So I think obviously it's about loss because he loses his wife, but I think it's very much about like our reactions to losing people we love.
Sure.
Like it's that like external manifestation of how we feel inside when we lose people we love.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that scene where he's in the bathroom and he's just like crushing that bottle of vodka and he's like just having a meltdown is, I mean, how would you handle something like that happening to you, right? I mean, who knows?
Yeah, oh God, I don't even want to know. I don't even want to think about it, like how I would handle that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's not just, revenge and we don't think much of it. It almost has like a story to it. And they make him, like a real person.
Yes. Yeah, especially in the beginning. I feel like the beginning, he is much more realistic.
And that scene you were talking about, the part you were talking about where he's wearing that shirt again, at the very end, don't they have isn't that flashback scene back to some club they're in or something? And he's sitting there, and is that when they meet, right? Isn't that when that happens?
I don't know if that's when they meet or not. I wasn't really sure, but
I thought that's what
this person said that, so maybe that is what that is.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe that is what that is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, maybe that is what it was that they were meeting that first time in that club. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
So, and then also Jeremiah. So we're talking about all these inspirations and all these nods to other things, to sci-fi and fantasy and Dungeons and Dragons and Joseph Campbell and things like that. So Jeremiah seems to take heavily from Charles Manson.
Love Charles Manson.
So
we love Charlie around here.
They do drugs before they kill people.
They sure do.
They call their victims pigs.
Yep.
And he's a failed musician.
Those are all things that those are all check marks for Charlie. For old Charlie, Uncle Charlie, all right.
Yep, all check marks there. So he seemed to be very inspired by him.
What cult leader doesn't really follow kind of all those things anyway, really, so they all kind of follow the same deal.
Well, but they're not necessarily all going to call their victims pigs. They're not necessarily all going to be failed musicians. So that's I think that's pretty Charlie Manson there.
And the funny thing is actually Charlie Manson had some talent. He actually was he could have been a musician if he wasn't insane. But didn't work out. Didn't work out for him. So
yeah, didn't quite work out.
Not so much.
Too bad. So what did you think?
When I first saw trailers and ads for it, I thought it was going to be like this just insane roller coaster ride of just absurdity, basically, which is fine. I was totally into that. It wasn't all of that I thought, and it kind of moved very predictably, I think.
Yeah, I expected it to be a lot weirder.
Right. Like before I, turned it on, I knew it was guy's wife gets killed, he gets revenge. Okay, cool. But they pretty much just did that, and it didn't do anything to no twists or anything like weird out of it that I wasn't expecting or anything. So I thought it was very cool. I mean, it was still very trippy. It was definitely weird.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I thought it looked fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't as weird as I thought it would be, and I thought it was about an hour too long.
Well, it's got to be at least an hour and a half, so it's only a half an hour.
Well, yeah.
But it's right at 2 hours. I don't know.
It was too long, is what it was. It was just too long.
It seemed to go by quickly for me, but okay, fair enough. No, I thought it, but yeah, overall, I liked it, and it got very good reviews. People liked it a lot.
It got great reviews, which I kind of thought were maybe a little better than it deserved. But
well, I think because of the look of it and everything like that was what made it so. I mean, put
yeah,
that in some other style, and it really doesn't do much for you at all. This was so atmospheric and just so out of this world.
And apparently, people loved the score too, and it was by some. It was like the last score that some.
It wasn't bad.
Scandinavian composer did. I loved it in the beginning when he's with Mandy. I felt like it was not hardcore enough once he started killing.
Okay.
I felt like once he started killing people,
should have been
like,
much more.
They're making all these nods to heavy metal. It needs to be heavy metal.
Sure. Yep. That's fair. That's fair.
Right? Like I wanted it to be, and I'm not a huge heavy metal fan like my husband is, but like I wanted it to be more metal. Like I wanted it. Yeah,
Especially
I wanted it to be
Scandinavian, a Scandinavian compo. We talked about death metal from Scandinavia earlier. I mean, come on, right? So
yeah.
No, overall, no, it was definitely enjoyable. It was what I thought. I thought there were some kind of humorous moments too, which were cool, which were good. It's always nice to have that in there. I liked it. It was good.
Okay, so.
Oh, and I like the fact that, this director is probably taking stuff from these old, like Dungeons and Dragons or fantasy stuff, which is not my thing. Like I didn't get those references, but I think that's really cool that he did that.
Yeah, the references were cool.
Yeah, that's very cool that he did that. And, and it felt like an old 80s. It felt like an 80s movie, right? Like we talked about. House of the
80s.
Devil being like that. It was kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it felt 80s for sure. I think it was strange enough that it wasn't like House of the Devil where like they had all these specific like the right Coke cans and the right this and the right that. Because it wasn't that type of movie. No. Because it was more dreamy to begin with, but it definitely felt 80s in the style of filming and in the style of film and everything.
Yes, definitely well done on that.
Okay, who would you be in this film? I'm going to try this one again because I think it's fun.
Oh, God.
Who's your spirit animal for this film?
Damn. I mean, it's way too obvious to say you'd be Nick Cage. That's kind of stupid.
But if that's who you feel like is your spirit animal.
I have no idea. Because those other folks in the movie are rotten bastards. I don't want to be one of them.
I feel like the chemist for me.
All right. I don't know. Honestly, that never even crossed my mind when I was watching.
Because the chemist is a little goofy and he's fun and silly. He's fun.
I would like to. Chemist. Oh, you know what? Okay, well, no. I mean, the one thing I liked about the one guy that gets killed, he's waxing his car.
Yeah,
he's obviously a car guy. I'm definitely a car guy. So if I had to pick, maybe I'd be that guy. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I can see it. You'd be the car guy
for that reason solely, though.
Okay, no, that's the only reason you need. You don't need any more reason than that.
I would like to have a giant chainsaw though, like that one guy did. That was pretty cool.
That chainsaw, like, I didn't know there were chainsaws that big.
There are not. There can't be. That was made for the movie. I've never seen a chainsaw that big.
I don't
ever.
know though. Like, there's some really big trees out there.
Maybe there is. I don't know. I've never been at Home Depot and seen like a 10-foot chainsaw. I can tell you.
No,
that.
Me neither. I feel like it would definitely be a special order.
Yeah, that thing was crazy. But I have to remind myself to think now about who I'd be in these movies. So yeah, thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, I want to start doing that because it's fun. I think.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, thank you for going on this journey with us through this strange movie.
Yeah.
We would, again, as always, like to ask you if you had fun with us. Rate and review us on iTunes or wherever you're listening, wherever you can. Facebook, whatever, so more people can find us. And send us your movie suggestions and your thoughts on the movies we've watched so far at thescarymovieproject@gmail.com. We've gotten a couple requests, so we're going to start doing some more requests here. So yeah, send them in and we'll make sure we get to yours. See ya.
Farewell.
The Scary Movie Project podcast is produced by Tara Garwood and Matt Lolich. Learn more at thescarymovieproject.com.